Yeah, Monday. What's up, everybody? Monday morning. Welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I'm your host, Chuck Fulkerson. I hope everybody's had an amazing weekend. We are about to kick off what we do each and every day, identifying our objective trades based upon reversals, breakouts, and other potentials that we have. We had our live trade room last night. So our breakout trades are still, as they say, rolling. So for those of you that were in the live trade room last night, hopefully you're still in some of those positions and price is still moving your way. Real quick, as we get started, I want to give everybody a quick heads up. If you have already seen it, great. If you've not seen it, go to tradersarmy.com. Register for our October 15th Online Trader Summit. It is a completely educational day. It's not a full day sales pitch, which I think a lot of people are kind of used to when they go to these kind of things. So I'm going to put that link inside the chat box. Please go on, register. It's going to be a full day. Myself, Corey Lane, we're gonna trade the open. We're gonna do some open market trading as soon as we get started. Justin Krebs is going to talk about futures versus forex futures. The champ is going to talk what does it take to be successful in today's markets, and then Dan Hodgman, John Hoagland from Top Step Trader are going to talk a lot about risk management. John Rowland from barchart.com equity futures, and Mickey Moores is going to be is a long-term option specialist. So pretty full day. We can only fit 1,000 people, so please make sure that you register as soon as possible. All right. So let's go ahead and get rolling. Last night, the S&P, and we're going to go today. I got to make sure I got a hard stop right at the bottom of the hour, so I'm going to try to get through all of the markets. But if I don't get through all of them, just know that I still love you. The ES last night, we were looking at a potential breakout. Those of you that were in the trading room last night, how many of you were in the trading room last night, were able to catch this breakout, and you're still in the position? If you are, let me know in the chat window, because we had a breakout at 32.98. We're sitting about a 30-point move, and this is the kind of move that can frankly make your week, right? I mean, you start your week with a 20 or 30-point S&P move. That's a pretty good kickoff to the week overall. So now, where's my retest if I get a retest? Now, we had looked at a couple of demand areas down below that if price had retested, we would be interested in. Now, by the way, why are we looking bullish in the first place? Well, the reason we're looking bullish, our 4-hour trend was still down, but we saw on Friday that momentum was weakening. And so we had a couple of shorts set up on Friday, but those shorts that we had set up on Friday, a couple of them went right through. And so now what we're looking at is retest to areas of demand, and all of my supply areas above me now are going to become confirmation entries because we have broken above our last couple of swings. So now on a pullback, we'll be looking for a decent long opportunity. So what I'm going to look at for today is where is my cleanest reversal. We've got a couple of reversals here. I like this 15-minute level there at 32.58 by 32.64. But then if we go into some more recent moves that happened in the overnight, this little move right here, I think, would be kind of the origin of that breakout. You got a couple of levels in here. None of them are phenomenal reversal opportunities, but I'd say that this one's probably the cleanest, right there at 33.03 by 32.99. So right there at that 3,300 whole round number spot. We are getting a little bit of sideways basing at the moment, and so with that little bit of sideways basing, once again, if you want to try another breakout, you certainly can. You certainly can. You go back to the well. Your stop at the tightest could be below 33.26 if you want to try another breakout in that position. NASDAQ also hit our breakout trade. It's come back to our supply level on the hourly chart, and that supply level was this one right up in here. Now this level here of supply, because our 4-hour has now given us a higher swing high and a higher swing low, that supply level, yeah, definitely setting up for that other breakout. That supply level may or may not hold, and if it does hold and we get a little bit of a pullback, and it gets me a pullback back into this region, now I'm going to look for a retest right in here. 11,217 by 11,176. So if we do get this pullback, I don't know that we will, frankly. Our momentum is very strong to the upside. And so if you took that short, then you're looking at having a very, very tight stop. If you didn't take the short, you shouldn't be in it as of yet because your confirmation level should be a confirmation trade. I don't know that I like it as much unless you take it for a short day trade coming back down in that position. All right, let's look at the Russell right quick. Now, the Russell, we did not have a breakout set up on the Russell. Because the Russell had been our weaker market, we didn't set up the breakout on the Russell. All we had was our reversal to this wick over wick level at 1460 by 1463. And then when price, if we get a retest back down into one of these regions, you do have a little level here on the 15-minute. 1482 by 1480, where I could see potential for a reversal. Okay. Now, as far as supply up above me on this one, looking at my supply above me on the 4-hour, we've got our cleanest supply doesn't come into play till way up here. We've got a little level. Let's move to the hourly. See, because this hourly level right here has already been touched, and then we got to move away, and now we're coming back to it a second time, but we're not there yet. So I don't see super quality supply above me, so I think there's a chance we could continue to run this thing a bit higher. And then last but certainly not least is our Dow Jones. The Dow, our breakout trade from last night, has come into, we came to our first area of supply. Once again, if it was a confirmation trade, your activation is here, your entrance is coming back out. So you did not get anything on the confirmation. Same thing with where we are right now. Now, why would we go to confirmation? Because our big picture trend has changed direction. 4-hour chart showing me that I have higher swing lows, higher swing highs. And it's okay to get in a bit, a bit early on those bullish moves as price continues to rally higher. So if we get a pullback on this one today, my eyes go to this area right here, 27,275 by 27,210 for a short reversal. All right, so those are our 4 main equity markets. Questions on those equity markets before we move on to our next positions. Question on the equities markets. Okay, all right, we're going to go ahead and move on to our commodity markets. So in our commodity markets, we start first with crude oil. Now, when I'm looking at crude oil, the first thing that I see here is we've got a 15-minute supply level that we identified last night that I was willing to take a shot at. And the reason for that is because our Friday level worked out really, really well. If you remember, we had this level here on Friday. We got a nice move away on Friday. I thought it was worth taking another shot. Well, in the last few minutes, the market rallied right through that area. I mean, just blew right through it. And so my next level would be on some sort of a pullback. But we're still inside a 4-minute kind of our 4-hour kind of sloppy market. It's not overly clean one way or the other. And so with that, I don't see a super clean trade setup either way. Even when I go to the hourly chart, I don't like this, right? What's my biggest problem with this right here on the hourly chart? What's my biggest problem on the hourly chart with this area? Somebody give me a heads up. There's more than one issue, but there certainly is a couple of issues with that level. And so with my issues, yeah, it's very wicky. I don't like all the wicks that I see here. All of those wicks make it a more dangerous level. That's a thorny level to me. And so I am not a huge fan of that. And so, and it's also a retest of this area over here. So I'm just going to stick away from most of my levels today in crude. There's not a lot out there that's making me want to jump into it. Next would be gold. So in our gold position, we have a good potential breakdown setting up at 1851. Now that breakout at 1851 was that breakout at 1851 was strengthened in the overnight by this red candle. The fact that we bounced off of it again tells me that we've gotten multiple touches to this 1851 level. And if we come back in here and we get basing, that is a solid candidate for a breakdown. We do have a 15-minute supply up above me. Frankly, it's not the greatest 15-minute supply. It's I'm going to tighten it up a bit. And the reason I'm going to tighten it up a bit is because of this little wick over wick area here and this bit of basing. So I'm going to tighten it up because I don't want to take as big of a risk in that position. Stop would have to go at 1877 at the tightest. Better to have your stop up above the pivot. So that could be an interesting level. Let's see. The Can says the WVE short squeeze. I'm not sure what WVE is, the Can Man, but I can take a look. It's not something I've traded. But this is a level that I would look at for a decent reversal if price comes into here with some speed here in the next few minutes. If we get a lot of basing here, though, it's going to completely be wasted. Okay? So when I look at this, that 4-hour breakdown, I think, still sets up for a pretty good little move because of the basing we're getting here. Nat gas. So our nat gas position, I'm going to ignore this gap. And the reason I'm ignoring this gap is because for some reason, Thinkorswim did not change over their contract. They stayed with the NGV much longer than they probably should have. And in reality, we should be charting the NGX. The X was the better contract. Now, we looked at this last night, and in looking at this last evening, we saw a potential reversal at the gap fill, and that gap fill level really worked down in the overnight. And then we talked about a potential for the gap and go trade. Well, the gap and go, I said the only way that I'm going to be interested in taking the gap and go is if I'm awake and I can see what it looks like coming into the level. And so I did not get filled on this gap and go. If you guys did, great. Let me know in the comment section below. If you took the reversal, great. It's still moving down. So I'm going to remove that reversal level as that level worked out really well. And then this area here, which was our gap fill, could still get, which was our gap and go kind of setup, could still get a retest. And if we get a retest, let's look at this area here as a retest, but it's going to be a confirmation entry. A little bit more cautious of that zone. 15-minute is purple, confirmation entry in here. All right, next, copper. So looking at our copper level, we looked at this last night and said, hey, we might get a bit of a breakout above here if you're interested and you really want to try a day trade. It didn't come down below where our stop would be. Stop would have to be down here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles later, price has gone nowhere. So if you took that breakout trade, get out for break even, as it's shown to go nowhere. We felt overall that the better position is that I think we're going to get a bigger pullback in this market. You know, when I look at this, I look at this shape of let's see if I can do a full screen. For some reason, that's not been working lately. I look in and I see this move down and then a rest and then a move down and then a rest. I think we're set for another leg down, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it take us right to this region here. I'm not sure when that leg down is going to happen, and timing it is the hard part. So I'm going to need to look for either a breakdown of a good breakout trade or some sort of a candle-to-candle reversal opportunity. Right now, neither one exists. So I'm going to continue with this and just not change a thing, right? Leaving it as be. No trades are being added at this time, although I think we could get a breakdown below this region here if we get quality basing. All right. We looked at soy last night. Let me just pull up soy here right quick. So on our soy level, we looked at a little 15-minute zone last night. It just didn't hold up. It popped right through that little 15-minute zone. Thought that level we were still going to have a bit of weakness, which we have wound up having some weakness. And I think that still is going to come down. Overall, I'm net bearish on what's going to happen, but I need to make sure that we have a good entry type, and right now it's just not there. Corn, very similar picture, although corn's close to this breakdown position. where I think we could see a breakdown. Nice reversal level up in here if price comes in here and touches that zone. ZL, our bean oil. I haven't looked at this in weeks, so ignore all of these lines. We haven't looked at this one in a few weeks. So let me start fresh. So I'm starting fresh, 4 hour. So starting fresh on the 4 hour, we've got a nice move up and a good little rest. That's that move up and a rest. I wonder if that's a 23.8 retracement. Probably not quite yet. Or 23.6, excuse me. Yeah, right at the 23.6 retracement. So we're sitting right there, close to the 38.2, which is there at 33.40. If I move to the 1 hour, so my eyes immediately go to this area right here, which is not a great time of day for this market, but it's a really clean level at a pretty clean zone. Okay? Yeah, wick over wick right there at that 33.40 on the 4 hour time period. So I think that may be the way to go right in there. Jason Ma says, okay to buy corn at 360, 357. So are you looking at this daily area right here, Jason? This little lower wick off this red candle, it's probably what you are looking at. And by the way, if I don't answer your question right away, there's a significant delay on YouTube between when the time the questions come in and when I respond to them. So, in looking at that, on the daily it looks good, but I very rarely look at the daily when I'm doing day trading. I don't typically go down to the daily time period, and my problem with this on the daily is that I think it's a better chance down here at the 356, 354 level at the actual pivot because we're getting such good basing. If we weren't getting basing here, then I would think that that would hold. But with the basing we're getting here, I think you've got a better chance for price to fall a bit further, Jason. Just me personally. All right, and then Dennis, I think that's on bean oil you're talking about. The 35 looks good. And you're talking this area right here. That is a pretty clean little level there for sure on bean oil at 35. Okay. All right, so let's move to, oops, put this in there. All right, let's move over to bonds and currencies here right quick. On our bonds and currency market, the bonds, I'm just not going to talk about it, right? It just doesn't make any sense. Very choppy, very sloppy. Leave it be. We looked yesterday at the Aussie, and the Aussie last night, we talked about a little 15-minute trade off of this level. We got a nice little bounce off of that area for those people that took it. Is anybody still in that? Is anybody still in that Aussie position? Because we've come back up to the 15-minute supply, which I thought was a cleaner area of supply. A little bit of basing here in this supply zone that I think is going to make it a little bit weaker of a position. Yeah, I missed by because I know a couple of people told me last night that they got in, Olsey and Lee, and we had originally drawn that zone here, and so I see why you would have missed by a few ticks right in here. But a couple people told me last night they got in, and we're holding it. So if you didn't get in, I don't think it's that big of a deal. You're going to get another opportunity at it. The basis of getting long there was the idea that our 4 hour was showing a little bit of slowing of momentum to the downside, and it might make sense to get in a little early on the long if you think that there's a chance that prices are going to continue to rally up. I think that's a good possibility. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to pull this one off. If you're in this short off of this level, I think you got a really good target there at 70.52. I'm actually going to put a potential long there at 70.52 for right now because I think that that's the origin of a pretty decent move higher for a day trade level. Okay. Let's take a look at the euro. So the euro level yesterday, we looked at a breakdown and then another potential reversal on the 15-minute chart. If you had looked at this 15-minute level, if you took this wick over wick, you came into it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's our sixth candle. We had gone nowhere right there, and now we've continued to basically go nowhere. So this one obviously is definitely not a strong bearish setup. I was looking really at the breakdown as the better setup, right? But we didn't really get that position. And so we're seeing all of these currencies are having a little bit of bullish movement this morning. I think that we could go until this area up here because this 4-hour supply would be our next area for potential reversal. I'm going to look down to a 15-minute demand. And at the 15-minute demand, that level here could be all right. It's not the best. And the reason it's not the best is because it's a bit of a retest of this area here to the left. So I'm actually going to leave the demand off at the moment. Actually, this might make for a pretty good demand, provided we get a little bit more of a move away from it. Yes, Jose, I'll take a look at that one for you. I've kind of put that in my rotation just for you, brother. All right, Canadian dollar. We've got a touch and go off of our Canadian dollar short level. If you didn't get filled on that, I'm going to move it to a confirmation. I think the level's still valid. In this one, if you did get filled, make your target right here at 74,682. That would be the place to look for the next target. That'll give you a good 3-to-1 reward to risk, about a 3-to-1 reward to risk, and a decent little reversal out of that zone. Maybe 2-to-1. Next area that I'd be looking at, though, is the breakdown below 74,542. Great British Pound. So this one rallied up hard in the overnight, really hard. We came straight up in the overnight hours. So all of these supply levels went right through. Our 4-hour trend was very sideways, so we actually didn't add anything new to our charts last night. But based upon that movement, I'm now going to look at this hourly wick over wick. That's the level. 12806, 12793. I think that's a pretty good spot for reversal in here. Japanese yen, our little Japanese yen short from last night. For those of you that were able to catch that, you got a little move away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 6 candles. You maybe had your stop at break even. We got a little move away from there. It's still kind of working and holding out okay. But I will tell you, if you weren't awake for that entry, don't feel bad. That was probably, if you set it up as a set it and forget it style trade, that's okay. If not, you probably didn't take it due to this basing here. It hasn't moved all that much from the level. And so when I look at the 4-hour, my 4-hour is going a little sideways, so I'm not going to add anything to this one either. I don't want to put anything new on my charts. Looking at this New Zealand dollar real quick. So this one here off our 15-minute level just missed the level that we identified on Friday. Yeah, John, we did. I'll pop back into it again. This just missed our Friday level, so that Friday level, in my mind, is going to have to be changed to a confirmation if you want to give it another shot, but it's lower probability. 4-hour trend is still down. We're in a little bit of a resting phase. But I do see that our momentum to the downside is kind of waning a bit, as it is with all of our currencies. So for me, the next area of opportunity would be, do we get some sort of a basing breakdown below here? But I'll need the basing. The euro, we looked at this as a potential 15-minute reversal. John, provided that we get a little bit more of a run higher, to make this a stronger area of demand. But our supply level on the hourly is really the best zone, and that doesn't come into play until somewhere up in here at this wick over wick zone. All right. Get this in real quick. All right, so those are our levels for today. I told you I had a hard stop at the bottom of the hour, so I want to make sure that I'm respecting everybody's time. You guys can all get out and enjoy your day. Once again, our trade of the day was the breakout trade on the S&P and the NASDAQ. Holding on to trades like that can make your whole week. Those really can. Those can make your entire week, and that's why Sunday nights are so important for trading. I believe that our Sunday sessions are super important for those of you that trade those futures markets. And I know it's not an opportune time of the day for everybody. All right, Mr. Hammer, I know you're in your time zone. It makes it very, very difficult, but those levels were still probably pretty good even when you woke up in the morning. For those of you that are on the eastern side of the Atlantic, we'll say. But the levels are still very strong on Sunday nights, and that breakout on the S&P and the NASDAQ, those are really, really good setups. But now we've got some retest opportunities as well. So hope you guys have a phenomenal day today. Thank you so much for jumping in. If you guys have any questions, as always, shoot me an email, chuck.fulkerson@tradersarmy.com. I will talk to you soon. See ya.